Hey EMbers, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be doing a comparison video. So I have said many times on this channel, one of my favourite games of all time is Drakan the Ancient Gates. And here it is, Drakan the Ancient Gates for the PlayStation 2. Recently I managed to pick up one of my grail items. It's not too expensive, but I hadn't been able to find it in the UK, and that is the NTSC version of Drakan the Ancient Gates, which is here. So I thought I would do a comparison video on them for you. Here in front of you is the PAL version. I have done a collection video, which I will link down below on all my Drakan items if you would like to check that out. But here is the PAL version. Like I say, I live in the PAL region. So I'll just do a pan down for you. We'll look at the front first. And here is the NTSC version, which is normally North America, I believe. Again, I only just got this in today, so I'm kind of reviewing this with you as we go. So if we bring them back, you can see some strong differences here. The NTSC on the left and the PAL on the right. First of all, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but one is in a black case and one is in a blue case. As neither of these were bought brand new, the seller could have changed the cases, so I don't know if that's any indication of anything. The logo visually is pretty much the same. You can see that this one says NTSC here. Just zoom in for you. And this one, of course, says PAL. But visually, pretty much the same at the top. And then we get into the striking differences with the pictures. So if you look at the PAL version, this is more like a screen grab from the game, I guess. You can see the art style is very much reminiscent of what's in the game itself, whereas if we look at the NTSC version, it's more of a concept art that they decided to go for. I would say that I actually prefer the cover art of the NTSC version. I don't know if that's because it's new, but I just find that picture very striking. We're now going to move on to the spines of the games. And as you can see here, we have Drakan the Ancient Gates. This is, again, the NTSC version. We move on to the PAL version, and it's pretty typical for what you would find on a PlayStation 2 game here. So again, I think I'm going to have to give it to the NTSC version. We move on to the backs of the games here, and the colour scheme is very consistent throughout, but you can see there are quite noticeable differences here. So I think it would take far too long to go through every single difference. You can visually see what's different. I think the back of these games do very well to convey what the game is, but I think I'm going to give it to the PAL version at this time. I love this picture of Rin here. Again, you've got the screen grabs. There's actually 4, whereas there's 3 on this one. And the writing, I think, tells you a little bit more about what the game is actually all about. So I think NTSC wins for the front and the spine, but I think PAL wins for the back. Let me know what you think. Okay, so now we're moving on to the interiors. You've got NTSC at the top and PAL at the bottom. So as you can see, the booklets are quite different. And it's very hard for me to pick a favourite here because the NTSC version on the left is very much like it could be in the game. You know, it's a book that's meant to look like it's part of the game, I guess. Whereas the PAL version goes a different route and uses the same picture they used for the front cover. This is the back of the booklets. So the NTSC version has decided to do an advert for ICO, and the PAL version has this rather striking photo of Arok, which I much prefer. Now, of course, it would take far too much time to go through both booklets, so I'm just going to flick through them both as quickly as I can. I will show you the first page of the NTSC version, then the first page of the PAL version, and so on and so forth, just so you can see the differences. So this is the first page of the NTSC version. And the first page of the PAL version. I absolutely love this picture of Rin. Again, this is a little bit silly to mention, I guess, but the paper on the NTSC booklet is so much thicker than the paper on the PAL version. Say what you want about that. The NTSC version has 38 pages and the PAL version has 32. So a little bit of a difference there. And finally, we move on to the discs. NTSC on the left and PAL on the right there. I am struggling to pick which one I like here. Again, the PAL version has gone for the same image that they used on the front cover and the booklet, whereas the NTSC version's gone for a more stripped back sort of look with the logo, but I do love the colours behind it as well. So I'm really unsure. But there we have it. That is my full comparison of the NTSC version of Drakan the Ancient Gates and the PAL version of Drakan the Ancient Gates. In terms of gameplay, I don't think there's anything different between these two versions. I could be wrong, but I believe they are exactly the same game. Thank you for watching. I hope this wasn't too boring for you. I don't know if people enjoy these kind of comparison videos, but I do, so I really wanted to film it, largely because this is one of my first NTSC games in my collection as well. I'm pretty excited to have it. The fact that it's Drakan, it's been one of my holy grails for years, and I did get a really good deal for it on eBay. It happened to come from a seller in the UK, so I didn't have to pay customs, so I'm really, really pleased overall. Regardless of whether you've played the game or not, let me know, out of all of the things you've seen today, would you go for the NTSC version on the left or the PAL version on the right? Just in terms of visual aesthetics, obviously not the one you'd be able to play on your system, if that makes sense. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye EMbers.